Why does life feel meaningless to many people despite having everything? Why does one feel empty, exhausted, and lifeless inside despite having a good career, family, money, or opportunities? There came a time in the life of the world-renowned author Leo Tolstoy when, despite having fame, wealth, and family, he could find no meaning in life. The question is, what is that thing which gradually steals a person's inner vitality, self-confidence, focus, and joy? We will learn from the lives of legends like Nikola Tesla and Mike Tyson how to control this primitive energy within ourselves to reclaim indomitable self-confidence. Today, you will know how to revitalize your brain's dopamine system and bring back the lost colors of life. In today's video, you will learn how certain secret habits destroy your mental strength, concentration, self-esteem, and interest in life, and how to bring back your power through discipline and self-control.
Exhaustion of physical and mental vitality. Ejaculation is not merely a physical process, it is the expenditure of your body's ultimate essence. When it turns into an uncontrolled and unnecessary habit, the body loses its internal balance. This results not only in physical weakness or fatigue, but reduces your mental sharpness to ashes. You will notice that after excessive loss of semen, a type of emptiness and mental fogginess develops within the mind. Your capacity for creative thinking vanishes, and you begin to feel like an insignificant, lifeless entity. The example of Mike Tyson. During the golden era of his career, one of the world's greatest boxers, Mike Tyson, practiced semen retention for 5 consecutive years. He believed that conserving this energy accumulated a sense of fierce intensity and vitality within his body, making him as powerful as a beast inside the ring. Whenever he broke this discipline, he felt mentally weak. Great sages believed that this conserved semen eventually transforms into ojas, mental energy, which elevates a person from ordinary to extraordinary among the crowd. The metaphor of the burning lamp. Imagine a burning lamp. The lamp will provide light only as long as there is oil inside it. If you make a small hole at the bottom of the lamp, the light will extinguish as the oil runs out. Your semen is the oil of that lamp. No matter how well you eat or exercise, if you constantly waste this core fuel of life, the light of your personality will never shine bright. You will become like an extinguished lamp, sitting alone in a dark room, unable to illuminate itself, even if it wants to, simply because there is no fuel left inside.
2. Disruption of the brain's dopamine system. Our brain uses a chemical called dopamine to experience reward or pleasure. When someone engages in unnatural or excessive loss of semen, it triggers a dopamine tsunami in the brain. Repeatedly doing this destroys the brain's natural ability to experience joy. Consequently, life starts to feel gray. You cannot focus on your studies, nor can you engage in any creative work. Small, ordinary achievements no longer bring happiness. You then become a prisoner of your own brain, a brain that constantly craves nothing but the intoxication of cheap excitement. The scientific context. Modern research shows that the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that helps make decisions and control emotions, gradually shrinks in those who remain deeply immersed in addictions like pornography or excessive semen loss for a long time. This is highly similar to drug addiction.
Studies have shown that when the brains of addicted individuals encounter the beautiful things of the natural world, they feel no stimulation because their dopamine receptors have become burnt out. They become effectively dead inside while still alive, as they have lost the power to feel the natural rhythm of life. The metaphor of the music player. Imagine a music player. If you wear headphones and listen to music at maximum volume all day, after a while your ears will go numb. You won't be able to hear the normal speech of the person next to you. Excessive loss of semen and hyperstimulation act as that maximum volume. It paralyzes the pleasure sensors of your brain. After that, the small joys of life, such as the sound of rain, talking to a loved one, or reading a book, will seem utterly bland to you. You then find yourself standing in a desert where there is water all around, but your capacity to quench your thirst is entirely gone.
3. The collapse of self-confidence and self-esteem. The most devastating impact of semen loss falls upon a person's soul. The deep guilt that develops within the mind after committing this act each time gradually eats away at your self-confidence. When you break your own promises, your subconscious mind begins to view you as a loser. You lose the courage to look people in the eye when you speak, wishing instead to hide in the crowd. You feel as though you have no fire, no uniqueness left inside you. A man without self-esteem may conquer the entire world, but at the end of the day, he begins to hate himself when standing in front of the mirror. The example of the samurai. In the lives of ancient Japan's samurai warriors, discipline was honor. They believed that when a man cannot conquer his senses, he cannot be victorious on the battlefield either. In their philosophy, preserving semen was not just about physical strength. Rather, it was the source of spiritual power or inner energy. Those who were slaves to their senses were looked down upon in society. This was because they knew that a person who cannot control a small desire of their own is unfit to handle greater responsibilities. It is this lack of self-esteem that cripples a person mentally. The metaphor of the royal sword. Imagine a royal sword. As long as that sword remains inside its sheath, it commands a distinct gravity and honor. But if that sword is used every day to cut weeds unnecessarily, its edge blunts, and it loses its royal dignity. Your character. 3. The collapse of self-confidence and self-esteem. The most devastating impact of semen loss falls upon a person's soul. The deep guilt that develops within the mind after committing this act each time gradually eats away at your self-confidence. When you break your own promises, your subconscious mind begins to view you as a loser. You lose the courage to look people in the eye when you speak, wishing instead to hide in the crowd. You feel as though you have no fire, no uniqueness left inside you. A man without self-esteem may conquer the entire world, but at the end of the day, he begins to hate himself when standing in front of the mirror. The example of the samurai. In the lives of ancient Japan's samurai warriors, discipline was honor. They believed that when a man cannot conquer his senses, he cannot be victorious on the battlefield either. In their philosophy, preserving semen was not just about physical strength. Rather, it was the source of spiritual power or inner energy. Those who were slaves to their senses were looked down upon in society.
This was because they knew that a person who cannot control a small desire of their own is unfit to handle greater responsibilities. It is this lack of self-esteem that cripples a person mentally. The metaphor of the royal sword. Imagine a royal sword. As long as that sword remains inside its sheath, it commands a distinct gravity and honor. But if that sword is used every day to cut weeds unnecessarily, its edge blunts, and it loses its royal dignity. Your character is that sword. When you repeatedly waste this priceless energy for cheap excitement, both the edge and the fire of your character vanish. You then turn into nothing more than a rusted piece of iron, which may look like a sword, but possesses no actual strength or dignity left.
4. Loss of goal and concentration. When there is no big goal or purpose in life, humans naturally lean toward cheap pleasures. And once trapped in this cycle, the true goals of life fade away like mist. Concentration or focus is a kind of power through which any difficult task can be made easy. However, the restlessness and lack of attention created inside the mind due to excessive semen loss will not allow you to remain still during a task for long. You will sit down to study, but your mind will wander elsewhere. You will want to work, but laziness will consume you. An aimless life then merely drifts here and there like a leaf floating on a current. The example of Nikola Tesla. One of the greatest scientists and inventors in history, Nikola Tesla, adhered to a strict rule of celibacy or semen retention throughout his entire life. He never married and never engaged in any form of sexual indulgence. Tesla himself admitted that this rigorous restraint amplified his brain's thinking capacity many times over compared to an ordinary person. He channeled all his sexual energy into scientific inventions and creative thinking. He believed that without conserving this energy, it is impossible to acquire the concentration required to understand the deep secrets of the universe. The metaphor of the magnifying glass. Imagine a magnifying glass. When sunlight is scattered, it cannot burn anything. But when you focus that sunlight onto a single point using the magnifying glass, a fire ignites. Your concentration is that magnifying glass. Semen loss breaks that internal capacity to focus into pieces. Your energy then scatters in all directions, as a result of which you find neither depth nor success in any work. Just as a broken mirror can never stabilize sunlight in one place, a disciplineless mind can never pierce through a major goal. 5. Long-term character degradation. Character is that invisible foundation of your life upon which your entire future stands. As Ryan Holiday said, discipline is the controller of your destiny. But when semen loss and cheap lust become your habit, it silently breaks the backbone of your character. You gradually transform into a liar, a coward, and an irresponsible person. This is because a person who cannot control his own eyes and hands in the secrecy of his own room cannot find the courage to stand up against a major injustice in society. This habit strips away your inner masculinity and fire, turning you into a spineless slave to your own lust. The context from Napoleon Hill. The famous author Napoleon Hill wrote in his world-renowned book, Think and Grow Rich, an entire chapter titled Sex Transmutation. By researching the lives of the world's most successful men, he demonstrated that those who did not waste this sexual energy on cheap lust, but rather retained and channeled it into building a career or society, are the ones who became immortal in history. Hill clearly stated that a man who cannot control this primitive energy can never develop a strong character, nor can he ever achieve great leadership or permanent success in life. Slavery to lust cripples a person from within. The metaphor of the ancient fortress. Imagine an ancient fortress. From the outside, the walls of the fortress look immensely powerful, but if termites keep eating away at the wood and stones of those walls from the inside, then no matter how beautiful it looks from the outside, the entire fortress will crumble to pieces with just a slight gust of wind one day. This secret addiction and semen loss act as those termites inside your character. It may leave you looking ordinary from the outside, but it will eat away your honesty, courage, and patience from within. On the day a major crisis or storm of responsibility hits your life, you will collapse like a house of cards.
6. Losing the joy of life and the meaning of existence. Why does life feel so meaningless despite having everything? Why is it that nothing brings joy like it used to anymore? The answer lies deep within this secret habit. Excessive semen loss sucks away that spiritual and mental strength which used to teach you to be grateful for life. When this vital force becomes zero, a strange indifference and depression take over the mind. You may have a good career, a family, and money, but your inner self is practically dead by then. You remain alive, but your inner vibrancy and the colors of life fade away. The example of Leo Tolstoy. When the world-renowned Russian author Leo Tolstoy was at the peak of his popularity, possessing wealth, fame, a beautiful family, and everything else, he fell into a severe mental crisis. He wrote in his diary that despite having everything, he could find no meaning in living, and thoughts of suicide were entering his mind. Later, he realized that external happiness, or the excessive indulgence in sensory pleasures, blinds a person's soul. Only when Tolstoy renounced this sensuality and addiction, choosing instead a path of strict self-control and discipline, did he reclaim the true joy of life and spiritual peace. The metaphor of the blind king. Imagine a luxurious royal palace. It has expensive furniture, delicious food, and dazzling lights all around. But if the palace owner's eyesight is taken away, can the beauty of that palace bring him any joy? Never. Excessive semen loss is exactly like losing that internal eyesight. From the outside, everything in your life may be perfect, but you have paralyzed the very entity inside you that is supposed to feel that happiness. As a result, you will wander through the palace like a living corpse, someone who has everything but has no life left to feel it. Below are 6 extremely simple and effective tasks to reclaim a normal and powerful life. 1. To restore physical strength, make it a habit to do at least 20 to 30 minutes of freehand exercise, push-ups, or running every single day. To reset the dopamine system, stay completely away from mobile screens for the first 1 hour after waking up in the morning and the last 1 hour before going to sleep at night. To reclaim self-confidence, every night before going to sleep, stand in front of the mirror, look directly into your own eyes and say, "I am stronger than my past." To increase focus and concentration, before sitting at your study or work table, write down just one main task on a piece of paper and do not get up until it is finished. To build strength of character,
Whenever bad thoughts of cheap excitement enter your mind, immediately change your location or take 10 deep breaths. To bring back the joy of life, sit quietly alone for at least 10 minutes every day and express gratitude to the Creator for 3 good things in your life. But remember, this breakdown is not the end of the story. If you make a promise today, stop wasting this energy and start retaining it through celibacy or semen retention, your body and brain will begin to revitalize once again. The extinguished fire within you will ignite once more. Do you want to turn your life around today? Let us know in the comments.